Welcome back to the 90 More Podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to a brand new video. The weekend is here and this is Matchday 8, my Premier League predictions for the weekend. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. We're going to be diving into who wins, who draws, and who is going to go into the international break with a loss. Right, let's get into it. We start off on Saturday. Luton Town take on Tottenham Hotspur. The early kickoff. Tottenham are really on fire. Luton Town last weekend picked up their first win of the campaign, and I really think that was a big result for them because they've got to find around 40 to 41 points this campaign. Where they'll get those points is maybe winning games at home, maybe becoming a little bit stronger and better at home. Now they are at home, Tottenham are away, but Tottenham have been really flying. That win against Liverpool over the weekend should have given them a much bigger boost as well. So I'm going to go with the Tottenham win in this one. I really think Son and Maddison will shine. So if you have your FPL not selected yet, you could go with those two, Maddison and Son. But Tottenham Hotspur, they are really doing very well. Ange Postecoglou has done a very good job with this team, and he's not actually added so many players, and that puts a big question on all the managers, Mourinho and Conte that have been here. What exactly were they doing? Because Ange has come in, signed a few players, one or two players, changed the mentality of this team, and now they are really top side. So Tottenham, this should be an easy win for them to continue their momentum. Saturday still, Fulham take on Sheffield United. This one is a difficult one to predict. Now, Sheffield, some of the quality sides from the Championship, I would say, they have really started off well this campaign. They have not picked up their first win yet, but I really do think it's coming. I really think eventually they will pick up a win. However, they're going to the Craven Cottage. It's not an easy environment to go to. And for Fulham, these are the games they win. These are the games they have to win. We have already seen them beat Luton Town. We have already seen them beat a couple of clubs that you tip them to beat. They are a very good side, and Marco Silva as a manager must be able to beat Paul Heckingbottom. My problem with Sheffield United is one, they are a promoted side that really doesn't defend well. You cannot concede those numbers 8, 3, 4, especially away from home. They're not doing very well. So at the Craven Cottage, I'm not going to give them a chance. I think they'll lose this game. Fulham to win against Sheffield. It could be a low-scoring game because I don't think Fulham are really scoring a lot of goals ever since the departure of Alexander Mitrovic, but I see them win this one in a low-scoring game. Burnley take on Chelsea still on Saturday at 5 p.m. UK time. Now Burnley, they've won their last game that was away at home against Luton Town. It was kind of, a carried over fixture. It didn't happen in match day 2, and therefore it was carried over to this week. And Burnley do have the quality. Now, there are two of the promoted sides that have actually picked up a win so far in the Premier League, Burnley and Luton. Now, them going away at Luton and picking up a point, that was great. And picking up 3 points, that was even better. But can they have the resources to actually go and stop Chelsea? Chelsea, on the other hand, are trying to put a couple of strings together. Nicholas Jackson, Armando Broja, Mikhailo Modric. They've started winning games. Now, they've won back-to-back games. First, they beat Brighton. That was in the Carabao Cup midweek. And then over the weekend, that was on Monday Night Football, they also beat a very good side in Fulham. So I would definitely say Chelsea have a bigger chance to win this game, but Burnley are not going to be an easy side. So I still suspect Burnley to score, but Chelsea will eventually win. I'm going to back them, Chelsea. I'm really going to back them. Not easy, but I'll back them. Chelsea to win away from home at the Turf Moor. Not an easy environment, and therefore Pochettino has got to tell the boys, you've got to be maximally concentrated on that game. Man United at the Old Trafford still will be taking on Brentford on Saturday. That's still at 5 p.m. Now, Brentford are really not doing very well this campaign. They're struggling, and I think it comes from the fact that they're missing a couple of players, but it also comes from the fact that they've not recruited well. They've not brought in some new players that I would have thought could actually add that kind of fire and that kind of new innovation and innovativeness to the team. So you look at the summer, they wanted Brennan Johnson, they didn't get him, and Johan Wissa and Brian Wemo, to give a lot of credit to them, they've actually started off very well without Ivan Toney. But Brentford are not convincing. Man United are not convincing either. This could be a replay of the Manchester United Galatasaray game, where Brentford come and do enough, and Manchester United come and do whatever is not enough in this game. So I'm going to go with a draw. Man United to draw against Brentford, Johan Wissa to score probably, and Marcus Rashford on the score sheet, plus Rasmus Hojlund, and then an equalizer from Brian Wemo. So I'm going to go 2-2. It always has goals. Brentford concede. Brentford are not very good defensively this campaign. We've seen it already. They have lost to Everton at home, and that is one of the worst results Thomas Frank will be looking at, and it's like, how did we lose this game and how did we become this bad? So Man United draw against Brentford. I don't see it in Man United to beat them, and even if they could score 3, Brentford still have the power and still have the organization to to go to the Old Trafford and score 3 as well. So I'm gonna go with a 2-2, probably that. It's a draw. I'm calling it a draw unless Man United can actually pull something different outside the box. Everton take on Bournemouth still at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Everton, they are really very, very confusing. Now, when they picked up that win against Aston Villa in the Carabao Cup away from home, and then they also went away from home and picked up a very healthy win against Brentford, we all said they are back. We all said this is Sean Dyche, this is Everton relaunched. Only for them to go last weekend to lose to Luton Town 2-1 at half time and full time. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that Luton Town can come to a ground where clubs like Aston really struggle to come and pick up easy 3 points. It was really confusing. So Everton, I cannot back them to beat Bournemouth. I don't think they have it in them to beat Bournemouth. I don't think they have enough. Bournemouth have not won a game of football this campaign. And you can see where I'm going, guys. You can see where I'm going. I would love to back Bournemouth, but I still think there is something lacking in the game, and that is finishing. They've got to bury their chances. They've got to be much better. I think in terms of general appearance and general play, they're doing well. The tactics of Andoni Iraola are actually working, but they've got to find a way of winning games. They've got to find a way of burying their chances. So I'm going to go with a low scoring prediction here, and I'm going to say Bournemouth and Everton will draw this game at the Goodson Park. Not easy to go to the Goodson and pick up a point, but I'm backing Bournemouth to actually do exactly that. Crystal Palace on the last day of Saturday, of the last game on Saturday, will be playing Nottingham Forest at the Selhurst Park. Now, Forest, again, great start. You've got to give a lot of credit to Stephen Cooper, because one of those managers that have really done well this campaign, just to make sure that the side starts well, and also to make sure that they pick up points when they deserve and pick up points when they don't deserve. Now, with Crystal Palace, they're really confusing. Their last win came against Manchester United. That was last weekend, and they really looked very good, but they're not as consistent as you want them to be. They're not as consistent as they actually should be. So again, in this game, Nottingham Forest will be going to the Selhurst. It's a very difficult environment. It's a very difficult fixture for them. And I think Nottingham Forest will be thinking this is exactly the same experience as when anyone comes to the City Park, right? It's always a very difficult away ground. So I'm going to go with Crystal Palace here. I think they've got it enough in them to beat Nottingham Forest. Forest will score in this one. I have no doubt about that. But Crystal Palace, I think Eberechi Eze will be leading this team and they will be beating Nottingham Forest. I'm going to go with the Crystal Palace win. I really hope I'm right about this one. I really do, because Nottingham Forest are really doing very well. They've really started off very well. They're not conceding as much. They're not scoring as much as well. It's just a balanced side that already gives you those vibes and guarantees we are staying in the Premier League and we're staying comfortably and very safely. On to the Sunday fixtures, where Brighton early on will be taking on Liverpool. Brighton, they've had a very bad run, like a very bad run in terms of fixtures. They played Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, then they've played Olympique Marseille in the Europa League, they played AEK Athens, now they're playing Liverpool. It's a disaster. But one thing they don't want, Brighton, is to replicate the result of last weekend. Brighton lost 6-1 to Aston Villa. It's a disgrace. It's a pure disgrace. And there's so many questions about Zabi, what exactly went wrong in that game. But I think they will be back. Liverpool know what it means to play Brighton, especially when they go away at the Amex. It's a very difficult game. It's a very difficult fixture for Liverpool. But this is also a very different Liverpool. They're winning games, they're keeping clean sheets, they're confident, they've got options. I was looking at Gravenberch yesterday. Instead of Szoboszlai, Gravenberch started for them against Younes St. Gallis, and he was magnificent. A goal for him, but again, his ability to control the game, his ability to just influence the actions in both boxes is very magnificent for me. Brighton, are they tired? They are absolutely tired. I'm not going to back them in this game. I'm going to go Liverpool. Tomek Szoboszlai, obviously, he's my FPL, right? So I'm going to go Liverpool to win this game. I think Brighton are really going to struggle with and they're not struggling with squad depth actually, but I think that Zabi as a manager is struggling with the fact that he has to coach on Thursday and coach on Sunday as well. He's really between crossroads, right? And this is going to take a toll out of Brighton. We have already seen it. I won't be surprised if Liverpool win this game by a difference of around 2 or 3 goals. I won't be surprised. I think what we saw against Marseille was Brighton being lucky, because Marseille dropped off in the second half during that Europa League game. Liverpool don't drop off until the 90 minutes elapse. So Liverpool to win this game, I don't have a doubt about that. West Ham will be taking on Newcastle. Newcastle are really on fire. West Ham have also started very well. They won their last fixture, by the way, in the UEFA Europa League as well. Away from home, beating Freiburg in Germany. Newcastle, highlight of the week, they disorganized and they dissembled Mbappe's PSG. They didn't care if Mbappe, the best player on the planet, was literally disintegrated at the St. James Park in midweek. These guys mean business, and Eddie Howe, I'm absolutely sorry for thinking you are not good enough. He's absolutely good enough, Eddie Howe. His tactics, and they press very high and they press very efficiently. Newcastle, they scare me. They absolutely scare the hell out of me. Look, this game is a difficult one. Newcastle will have beaten PSG and convincingly, but the question is, did it take a lot out of them? Did this performance really require a lot of digging deep? It really did, right? Now, everyone will look at the performance and go, well, they did absolutely well, but did they actually, sweat? Did they actually need to sweat beyond the normal limits? I think they absolutely did. West Ham went away. They will have traveled, and that means that it will have taken a toll out of them as well. I'm going to back both sides to put in a decent performance, because a draw at this point wouldn't actually hurt David Moyes or Eddie Howe. So I'm going to go with the draw between West Ham and Newcastle. If West Ham don't lose and Newcastle don't lose, they can easily prepare for life after the international break. Better. Wolverhampton Wanderers, the new champions, against Man City, the budgie side of Manchester City, will be playing Aston Villa at the Molineux. Now, Villa are struggling in Europe. In the UEFA Conference League, they're really struggling. They won that game yesterday against a very, very crooked side, 1-0 in the 95th minute. It was Joe McGinn. But Wolverhampton Wanderers will be digging and will be using that credit in the bank they have against Man City. If you beat Man City, that is your starting point. That is where you've got to begin. If you cannot begin from there, I don't know what kind of extra motivation you're actually going to be needing. So, Wolverhampton Wanderers, not a good start actually, but they have 2 wins already in the campaign and a draw. Well, that means that they've actually collected 7 points, and that puts them very, very safely above relegation. Probably not very safe, but they're around 3-4 points above relegation, right? And I think that's what they need to continue doing. Pick up points here and there. When you get to that 40 mark or 45 point mark, you are safe. They've got the right manager to keep them up in Gary O'Neill. They've not backed him enough, and I expect some signings in January probably. I think they'll be alright, Wolverhampton Wanderers, but not this weekend. Aston Villa, they are fire in the Premier League. You can ask Brighton. I do not have anything against Brighton. These guys absolutely annihilated them. And the problem with Wolverhampton Wanderers is defending and scoring goals. And with the problem with Villa is they score a lot of goals. That's the problem with Villa. Like, they've scored 6 against Brighton. They are really good. They are absolutely very, very good, right? Moussa Diaby, Oli Watkins is back with the hat-tricks and, scoring almost in every game they play. Joe McGinn is on fire. Jacob Ramsey is back as well. I'm going to back Aston Villa. I think Villa will win this game very, very comfortably. The big one, guys, Manchester City, Arsenal. I don't know what to say about this one. Arsenal, not really the team that always deserves Manchester City. They're not a bougie side for Man City. Man City do dominate this fixture, as we know, home and away. It's a fixture that doesn't give us a lot of draws, by the way. It really does not. It's a fixture that always guarantees us goals. It's a fixture that always guarantees us quality performances. And I think Man City will be coming in this game with a disadvantage, but also with a motivation. The motivation is that they lost against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and if Arsenal beat them, Arsenal will be on top of the Premier League table. And we know what happened when Arsenal go on top of the Premier League table. They can be there for as long as 248 days. You don't want that, do you? Man City, they don't have Rodri. That's the second part. And that is going to take a toll out of them when you're playing a side with Partey and Declan Rice available. With Arsenal, there are 2 questions to answer. Can they create the chances? They can. But can they convert them? They can't. So in this game, like Mikel Arteta said after the Lens game, losing, in the Champions League, can we bury our chances? Can we affect both boxes? Defensively, we are doing well. We are conceding 1 or 2, but can we actually score the 4 chances we are creating? Can we score the 5 chances that we are actually creating? For that reason, before Arsenal find out whether they can score or not, Man City will win this game by a healthy margin. I think it will be a tight one. It's one of those games that, like the Arsenal-Manchester United game, it could be 1-1 until the 70th or 80th minute, and then Man City will just run away with it. Like, they will score a second in the 82nd minute, and probably score a third in the 90th minute, right? It's a fixture that Pep Guardiola really knows. It's a fixture that he knows how to win. And if Arsenal win this game, it could be bad news for Manchester City. Like, really bad news. I'm gonna back City for this one. I had thought about a draw, but it's a game that doesn't give us excess. It really, really doesn't. I'm gonna back Manchester City for this game, and won't be surprised if Arsenal really don't turn up as well, just like they did against Tottenham Hotspur. Those are my weekend predictions: win, lose, or draw. I'll see you right in the next one. Smash the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well.